Are you recording long interviews or Zoom calls and then wondering why the clips you try to post just don't land on social media? I used to spend what felt like hours trimming, reformatting, and adding captions just to get something that looked half decent on Instagram or TikTok. But the good news is, you absolutely do not need to be a professional editor to make that raw footage look actually watchable and shareable. Stick with me for a few minutes, and I will walk you through a way to turn raw Zoom footage into snackable, scroll-stopping clips without living inside Premiere or Final Cut. Hey everyone, I'm Alex, a creator who has seriously tried every half-decent workflow out there, from clunky desktop cutters to expensive agency-style edits. On this channel, I drop practical, no BS tips for turning long-form video into content that actually grows your audience. If you're new here, do me a quick favor and subscribe so you don't miss future video walkthroughs just like this one. All right, let's dive straight into the core problem we're trying to solve today. Zoom recordings are fantastic for capturing real conversations, great interviews, webinars, and remote talks. Basically a massive treasure trove of content. But that default Zoom output file? It is almost never social media friendly right out of the box. It's usually stuck in that awkward speaker view or a weird widescreen format with tiny faces, and the pacing and framing are completely wrong for vertical platforms. If you post that raw footage, you will get abysmal watch-through rates, muted engagement, and viewers who scroll past in less than a second. That outcome is incredibly frustrating because the actual ideas and insights inside those conversations are often pure gold. Now, you could absolutely do what a lot of people do. Open a desktop editor, manually set in and out points, resize every clip, add titles, and export different aspect ratios. Then you have to push that file into a separate captioning service, re-import it into something like Canva to brand it, and then finally schedule the whole thing. That manual method works, sure, but it is incredibly slow, tedious, and frankly, it's complete overkill if you need consistent output every single week. There are some free tools that can help out. Old school apps can chop clips, Canva is great for layouts, and dedicated tools make burned-in captions fast. But the major issue is that those tools only solve a single step, and stitching them all together turns into an absolute workflow headache. Let me quickly cut to the useful part. This is precisely where Vizard steps in as a massive time saver for creators. Vizard is an AI-first tool that was specifically built to handle the one task creators universally hate doing, turning one long video into lots of ready-to-post bite-sized clips. The AI scans your entire long recording, finds the moments it thinks are likely to go viral, and auto-edits them into multiple short clips for you. That capability alone saves you from manually scrubbing through hours of footage just trying to guess which 30 to 60-second moments will actually perform well. Here is the simple 4-step workflow that I actually use now, replacing hours of micro-editing with just a few minutes of focused review. Step 1 is recording smart. Before hitting record on Zoom, switch to gallery mode if you know you'll be repurposing the footage later. Gallery mode gives you a much cleaner side-by-side framing for interviews, making it easier for the AI to isolate and focus on individual speakers. Also, tell your guests to avoid sudden jumps in position and try to keep their lighting as steady as possible. These are small things that save hours later. Step 2 is simply uploading. Take that raw Zoom MP4 file and drop it directly into the Vizard platform. Vizard will then analyze the entire session and instantly surface a batch of short clips it genuinely thinks are watchable, not just random snippets. It usually pulls multiple candidate clips from the same long recording, ensuring you always have several great options to choose from. Step 3 is the review and tweak stage, and this is where the magic really happens for you. The power isn't that the AI is magically perfect. It's that it gets you 80 to 90% of the entire editing job done effortlessly. You can then quickly scan the proposed clips, reject the ones you don't like, and stitch or trim the rest with very little friction. The interface is intentionally fast and built specifically for creators, allowing you to make rapid choices instead of constantly wrestling with complex timelines. Step 4 covers picking your aspect ratios and applying templates, which is crucial for platform optimization. Vizard supports exports optimized instantly for every major social platform, like Square for the feed or Vertical for Reels and TikTok. You can batch export several different formats in one go, or select a pre-made template that best fits your existing brand look. That means zero manual canvas resizing in another app unless you specifically want to add heavy custom brand assets later on. Step 5 introduces the auto schedule feature, which I personally consider a major secret weapon for consistency. You simply set how frequently you want clips to go live, and the AI queues them up for you automatically. You completely bypass the need to babysit specific posting times or build a separate calendar in Google Sheets. Step 6 is the integrated content calendar management, keeping everything centralized and visible in one place. It's the kind of centralization that keeps your entire content operation incredibly efficient, especially when dealing with multiple episodes. Now, I don't want this to sound like a biased product brochure, so let's discuss the trade-offs and where other tools still shine. Traditional manual editors like Premiere or Final Cut offer incredible flexibility, but they absolutely demand significant time and expertise from you. If you need every single frame tweaked for cinematic quality, they are the answer, but they are overkill when your main goal is volume publishing. Old-school free utilities are useful for one-off trims, but they are dated and far too slow when you need to batch process multiple clips. Canva is absolutely amazing for graphics, animated stickers, and maintaining visual brand consistency across all your posts. I still use it to add custom logos or unique thumbnails because it remains perfect for that final creative polish layer. However, Canva is not a magical AI clip finder, so relying on it for every clip means you are back to doing a lot of repetitive manual work. Captioning services like Quick can burn in subtitles fast, but they are almost always an extra step and often require a separate monthly subscription. Vizard effectively sits in the sweet spot in the middle of that entire spectrum for modern creators. It doesn't replace Canva for heavy design work, and it isn't a full replacement for a cinematic editor, but it reduces the friction massively for volume content. Instead of spending hours on just one episode, you can now get multiple ready-to-post clips in the time it used to take you to edit just one single clip. To give you a practical example, I uploaded a recent 45-minute interview session right into the tool. Vizard returned a batch of 12 distinct clips, including several strong 30 to 60-second highlight moments. I previewed them all, rejected 2 that didn't feel quite right, toggled the aspect ratio to square for my Instagram feed, and scheduled 3 posts for the week ahead. In under 20 minutes, I had an entire week's worth of content completely ready to go, which is a true game changer. Compare that effort to the usual 2 or 3 hours of manual chopping, formatting, captioning, and scheduling you had to do before. If you still want to customize the final look, you can easily use Canva after Vizard exports the initial clips. You can upload that clip to Canva, add a branded bar, a fun sticker, or a bouncy call to action, and then re-export the final polished version. The actual key takeaway is that Vizard completely removes the heavy lifting of finding and creating those initial clips in the first place. To ensure you get the absolute best results from this AI-powered system, here are a couple of pro tips for success. First, make sure your source audio is very clean, because the AI models work significantly better when speech is crisp and clear. Investing in a cheap lapel microphone for your guests is one of the most worthwhile expenses you can make for better repurposing. Second, utilize that gallery mode and just generally avoid any weird camera overlays, as consistent framing helps the AI decide what looks best. Third, be absolutely picky about the hooks. The first 3 to 5 seconds of any clip will determine if someone scrolls away or stops. When reviewing Vizard's suggestions, always prioritize clips that open with a genuine question or a surprising, attention-grabbing line. To wrap this up, if you are repurposing Zoom interviews or any other long-form content, you simply do not need to become a full-time video editor. You need to adopt a workflow that smartly leans on the right tools for the right job. Record well, let AI find the gems, polish quickly where it matters, and schedule like a pro. Vizard makes the heavy lifting of clip discovery and initial editing fast and incredibly scalable for your growth. Tools like Canva and dedicated captioning services are still perfect for filling in those final creative and accessibility gaps. I highly encourage you to try this out on your very next recording session right now. Upload one of your longer Zoom files, let the AI surface all those highlights, and schedule a few posts out for the week. If you've been stuck producing just one single clip per episode for months, you will be genuinely shocked at how much more content you can create. If this walkthrough helped you see a path to less editing time, please hit subscribe so I can keep sharing real workflows that actually save you time. Finally, drop a comment below with your single biggest pain point when repurposing long videos. I read those and will try to address the top issues in future videos. All right, team, I will see you all in the next one. Now go out there and keep creating great content efficiently.